There is a feeling I did not have a name for a long time. It was not anxiety exactly. It was not shyness exactly. It was more like the moment someone else entered the room, or the street, or the terrace. I changed. Not because they said anything, not because they even looked at me, just because they were there, and something in me would just switch. Like a performance started that nobody asked for and I could not stop. I think a lot of people know this feeling. That quiet self-consciousness that turns on the second someone else is nearby. Even if they are a stranger, even if they are just passing through. And the exhausting part is nothing has to happen for it to start. They do not have to look at you. They do not have to say anything. Just their presence is enough to make you feel like you are being watched. I remember being on my own terrace one evening, something I had done 100 times before, and a window opened in the building across. Just a window. Nobody even appeared. But something in me immediately went, what do I look like right now? Am I just standing here doing nothing? Does this look weird? And just like that, the terrace was not mine anymore. I was a guest in my own space, performing for a window that probably had no one behind it. That is what this feeling does. It takes the most ordinary moments and turns them into something you have to manage. The neighborhood walk, the quiet evening outside, just existing somewhere. All of it becomes a thing you are monitoring yourself through. And slowly, without noticing it, you start making yourself smaller, laughing less, moving differently, saying less, taking up less space than you actually have. I became quieter along the way, and for a long time I thought that was just who I had become. That I was just a quieter person now. But that was not really true. I was someone who had gotten so used to feeling watched that I started watching myself before anyone else could. I became my own audience before anyone else even had the chance to be. And that is where it starts to cost you something real. Not in a dramatic way, just in all the small moments where you could have been fully there. And you were not. Because part of you was busy managing how you looked from the outside. Here's the thing I had to sit with for a while before it actually landed. The person at that window was probably thinking about what to cook. The neighbor walking past was somewhere completely inside their own head. Nobody was watching the way I was convinced they were. We spend so much energy feeling seen by people who are too busy feeling seen themselves. Everyone around you is carrying their own version of this, their own quiet self-consciousness, their own performance running in the background for an audience that is not paying attention. Nobody is watching as closely as we think, and most of the time, nobody is watching at all. The exhaustion I felt was real, but I was spending it on a performance nobody had asked for. Nobody had even noticed the show was running. Knowing that did not make it disappear. It does not work that simply. But it gave me something to come back to when I felt it starting again. So how do you actually stop feeling this way? When that feeling would switch on, my attention would immediately go inward. So instead of asking, what do they think of me? I started asking something else. What are they actually doing right now? Not about me. Just, what is actually happening around me? The neighbor is carrying something heavy. The person at the window is on their phone. The people outside are mid-conversation about something completely unrelated to my existence, and something about actually looking outward, really looking, instead of folding inward, starts to break the loop. Because you cannot be fully present in what is around you and fully inside your own head at the same time. One of them has to give. It does not work immediately. The first few times it feels forced. But slowly it starts to become the more natural direction to look, outward instead of inward, at them instead of at yourself through their imagined eyes. And the other thing, which sounds small but is not, is just letting yourself be caught mid-ordinary, standing on the terrace doing nothing, sitting somewhere without a reason, just existing without justifying it, not performing relaxed, actually just being there. Every time you do that and nothing bad happens, and nothing bad ever happens, some part of you slowly starts to believe that it was okay to just be there, that you were allowed to take up that space all along. It does not disappear overnight, but it does loosen, slowly and then more. You are not too sensitive. You are just someone who started watching themselves so carefully that you forgot nobody else was watching that hard.